Y'all ready to surrender to your greatest and highest good? Yes, yes. Y'all got to talk to me. Y'all need to be screaming at your TVs at home too, right? When I ask a question. What interesting weather we're having here in North Carolina, huh? I got up this morning pretty early and took Zimmer for a walk, and it was 43 degrees. And it's now, I think it's over 60 outside now, and it's a beautiful day. This morning on our walk, we had to take a new route because we're shaking things up, right? If we do things the way we've always done them, we keep getting what we've always gotten, right? Yeah, well, see, we have to change things up. We have to shake things up. So we were walking this morning, and even Mother Nature's doing some stuff differently, right? Because we walked through the Beaufort Historic Site, and the Lenten roses were blooming. Now, it's not really a rose, if you know what Lenten roses are, but they're called Lenten roses because they're supposed to bloom during Lent, right? And closer to Easter, and it's January. It's still early January, so we're doing things differently. And sometimes, anybody have any difficulty when it comes to doing things differently, right? Because we kind of get in our rut sometimes, right? And that's why we did a burning bowl, right? We decided to let go of things, to release things that we identified that are out of order, right? What is order? Right? We talked about order this past year when we went through our 12 powers of man. And order, here's an interesting thing that I read this week in Charles Fillmore's book, Jesus Christ Heals. Order is heaven's first law. If we desire to demonstrate health when we receive more spiritual life, we must order this life rightly. For if it is not so ordered, mental and physical discord will ensue. All right, see, we have to use our mental ability to put our spiritual order, right? We have to order things spiritually. It becomes difficult sometimes. See, everything must be brought into order. If we affirm prosperity, that too must be brought into orderly relations to the rest of our thinking. We may be dedicating life and we may be declaring life and prosperity, and at the same time be holding on to some disorganizing thought. See, right, if we're holding on to a disorganizing thought, then we're not going to have our life and our prosperity. All right, so we have to put things in order, right? Because we don't want disharmony. We don't want discord. We don't want dis-ease. Right? The lack of an orderly arrangement of thoughts is responsible for many delayed demonstrations. You get that? Lack of orderly arrangement of our thoughts. Right? That is so important, and we talk about our thoughts and our feelings help dictate what we experience here in this world, how we experience in this world. And see, here's you want to know then the metaphysics of order as a means of demonstration. How can you order your life by the divine plan? By accepting it as a truth that there is such a plan, and by making this plan yours through affirming your oneness with omnipresent mind, in which this plan exists in its righteousness, right? And see, here's what we affirm. We affirm, I am an individualized eternal expression of God, good, love. I am one with divine mind, which is now ordering my life in divine harmony and health and prosperity and every good thing that you want. See, when we affirm that we are one with divine mind, and we know that divine mind's first law is order, right? if we live from that spiritual truth, then we can be sure of divine harmony in our lives. We can be assured of eternal life, spiritual life. We can be assured of receiving all of our good. And see, what I want to remind you again today, you're going to get tired of hearing this year, is that God, good love, has designed, has created in your heart a divine plan to make manifest the truth nature of itself, right? And what is the truth nature of you? It is the fact that you are divine. You are a divine expression of the one, right? You are an eternalized, individualized expression of divine love that's here now. And so this plan exists in righteousness, right? This plan exists in the truth beyond all truths. God, good love, has come here, individualized as you, to know itself fully. This is true. And what is also true is that within you is a divine purpose. And see, we sometimes think that purpose and plan are the same, but they're not. See, the plan exists overall. God, good love, is here to know itself as you fully. But the purpose, the longing of your heart, that is your heart's desire. That is God, good love's will for your life. Right? The plan is the same for all of us, but the purpose is different. We each have our purpose to come forth and show. How do we experience our oneness? How do we express the longing of our heart? Right? You know, and here's the truth, you know, because some of us, you ever want to get away from the divine plan? You ever look at what the world looks like and go, I really don't like this, and I just want to jump off, get off the, what is it? Stop the world, I want to get off. Right? And here's the truth. You can make all of the detours you want in this physical manifest life. You can make all the detours that you want, but universal mind's first law is order. Heaven's predominant law is order, and so you are always going to come back to the truth that the individualized eternal expression of you is here to express and to know itself in truth as love. As love. Get that? That's an important piece, because anything that we do that is not love is not truth. You know, and any time that we are doing anything that is not done out of love, we are detouring. And that feels kind of rough sometimes, doesn't it? Kind of feels like you're trying to swim upstream. I'm losing my metaphors today. It's difficult, right? Anytime that we are not showing up as love, is trying to live into this love, we're out of order. Any longing in our individualized consciousness to be released from that which is not our good, to be released from anything that is less than good, that is our heart longing to know itself as God, good love. Right? See, so when we have that which we know is not of our best and highest good, when we can realize that is that Christ's light showing us. It is guiding us to see that this is not in alignment with the plan for me to know myself fully. This is detouring me. So we want to come back. We want to come back to love. We want to embrace this plan by living into our purpose. Yes? And you know what your purpose is. And if you don't know what your purpose is, you get to sit longer in the silence, right? Because your wisdom, your understanding will show you, will call out to you, this is what God, good love in me is calling forth to do, to be in this world, right? And here's a footnote. I want to remind you that when we have that longing, when we feel that longing for God, good love in our life, because we don't see it, we don't experience, that is just an illusion, right? Because we can never be separate from the eternal, right? We are an individualized expression, so we just have to redirect our attention and come back to the truth of who we are. And we are longing to fulfill this divine plan. We are longing to express our divine nature, right? This is the Christ of our being. The Christ of my being is calling me to remind people of who they are. What is the Christ of your being calling for you to do here in this world? This is a quote from Emily Cady. The will or plan of God for man is that all the divine ideas that make up absolute good are to be expressed and made manifest through man. That's a lot of good to get through, right? It's a lot of good to get through. Think of all the fun you can have when you align yourself with divine ideas, when you align yourself with the truth of who you are and get in order with heaven's first law, right? Be the order of heaven's first law. See, we this omnipresent, eternal God mind is ordering things through you. You get to order things when you pay attention, right? And the underlying law is order, and through this law all things come into expression. Y'all remember that? The Trinity and unity? Do we remember this? Mind, idea, expression. There is only one universal mind, the source and sole origin of all intelligence. First is mind, universal mind, divine mind, this place where all divine ideas come from, and that is the next step. That is idea, right? Divine ideas. There is mind, then there are ideas, and then from these ideas become manifest here in the world. Right? Nothing happens until it is an idea in mind first. For example, we have in universal mind the perfect idea of man. And the perfect idea of man is Jesus. And so we turn to Jesus as our way shower because he shows us the way, and he was manifest in this place as an individualized eternal expression of Christ. But what is true of Jesus is true of you. In universal mind is the divine idea of you. Right? There is the idea of you, and then you are the manifest idea. And see, I know that you are one with divine mind. I am one with divine mind, universal mind. We are all one with God, good love. And so we also have ideas, right? Everybody have ideas in here? Everybody has ideas. And so we have these ideas, and these ideas become manifest. Right? That's how it all happens. There is divine plan, there is divine purpose, and because we are eternal, individualized expressions of divine mind, we have divine plan and we have divine purpose, and then we have a divine path. And see, this path, these are the actions that we get to take. Right? These are the actions, this divine path. The truth is this divine path that you choose, it can be stressful. Anybody have a stressful path? Or your path can be filled with poise and with freedom. Right? It can be filled with poise and with freedom. This is from Winifred Wilkinson Hausman's pamphlet, Dealing with Stress. And if you remember that name, because Winifred wrote How to Use Your 12 Powers from God that I used when we talked about the 12 powers. So the person who suffers from stress is always uncomfortable. They seem to find it impossible to adapt to people and conditions. Happenings have a way of becoming irritations. Always there are things that are wrong. Consequently, there is a feeling of not being able to cope with life or to handle all of the demands that it makes. Is anybody sitting there going, oh my gosh, you were watching me this week? I was just watching myself. On the other hand, there is the person who is at home in his or her world. This person moves easily through experience after experience with poise and freedom, handling whatever comes up in the perfect right way. Ease and joy are the order of each day. Happily, we can all learn to be at home in our world. It is not necessary for us to suffer from stressful feelings and reactions to situations in our lives. Instead, we can be comfortable and easy, free and at peace at all times and under all circumstances at home in our own world. See, this is important to remember, because we get to either maintain poise and freedom and ease and joy, or we can be stressed out. And being poised and being free is a choice. It means choosing a spiritual path versus a manifest path. Being seduced by sense thought and being of the world, because remember, we are in the world, not of the world. And so we mentioned Jesus. I mentioned Jesus, and see, Jesus was able to maintain poise and freedom, right? Even as he stood before Pontius Pilate, and Pilate said, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Right? The weight of life rested in this question. Are you the king of the Jews? You know, this was a question because under Roman authority, Pilate thought he was the king of the Jews. Of course, Jesus, who likes it when someone answers a question with a question, right? And Jesus said, are you asking that, or has somebody told you to ask that? Right? Because the Jewish leaders of the time, they were challenging Pilate because Jesus was challenging their authority. Right? Jesus stood firm in the fact that he was on a spiritual path. He was concerned with spiritual matters. Jesus said, my kingdom is not of this place. Right? He was of course referring to heaven, where order is the law. So what I want to ask you today is I want to ask you, what's important to you? Is it your spiritual journey, or is it your manifest experience? Is it your spiritual journey or your manifest experience that's important to you? Because the truth is this is where you are placing your faith. Right? And as I saw that Lenten rose blooming this morning as I was walking through Beaufort, I was reminded that when the soldiers came to arrest Jesus, Peter jumped forth and grabbed a sword and cut off someone's ear. Right, because in that moment, Peter was placing his faith. We know from our 12 power study that Peter represents faith, that Peter was placing his faith in this manifest experience, and Jesus said, put down that sword. Right, and then he took the man's ear and he healed him. Because Jesus knew that this is a spiritual journey. This is not about the manifest experience. And who we are, who we really are, is an individualized, eternal expression of Christ. And we just happen to have these groovy spacesuits to move around in the manifest world in, right? So Charles Fillmore wrote in The Atom-Smashing Power of Mind that we are now living in a civilization dominated by human thought, and confusion is the result. Do y'all know how long ago he wrote Atom-Smashing Power of Mind? None of us was alive back then, right? Boy, did he call it. We are now living in a civilization dominated by human thought, and confusion is the result. See, when we place too much emphasis on what's happening here and not paying attention to our spirituality, our spiritual journey, being committed to a spiritual path, a path that will express our purpose, that lives into the plan, confusion is the result. Chaos is the result. Everything is out of order. Right? We can take dominion over ourselves. Fillmore wrote, "You can do anything with the thoughts of your mind. There is no other place in the universe where you are the absolute master." You get that? You are the master of your own mind, your own thoughts. When we first take command within ourselves, then we are bound to influence our world for the better. We share a common divine plan. We are here to know ourselves fully. The Christ of our being is here to know itself as us. We each have a purpose that has been placed in our heart that we discern with wisdom, with understanding. We turn to our guidance to understand what is it that I am has called me to be here now to do, to be in this world. And then because we are creative expressions of the Christ, we also get to use divine ideas and to divine a spiritual path that helps make all of that happen. See how we're layering and we're building off of this idea that we have a purpose to be here. And so I really want to encourage you that your individualized expression is to realize your purpose and to achieve the divine plan. And I want to know, what is your path? What is your path? And if you don't know, see, the path isn't made for you. And let me tell you what, if you take a wrong turn on the path, Spirit's going to order it right. Right? Right? I said for years that I wasn't going to be a congregational minister. Right? Oh, I'm not going to do that. I am called to remind people of who they are. And so I am deciding on a path to make that happen. What is your path? What is your purpose? Because the Christ wants to know itself as you. Namaste, my friends.